you ready to explore the unknown? Dive into the world of the strange, mysterious, and unexplained with Eerie Expeditions magazine. Each issue is packed with spine-tingling tales, cutting-edge paranormal investigations, and exclusive insights into hauntings, cryptids, UFOs, and more. Whether you're a seasoned investigator or just love a good ghost story, Eerie Expeditions magazine has something for you. Join our growing community of truth seekers and adventure lovers. Subscribe today at EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com and unlock the secrets of the supernatural. Are you?
What's out there? What creates the shadows in the corners or the creatures of the dark? Who are those on the other side? What do they have to say? This is the Gateway Podcast. This is not your normal style of paranormal talk radio. Brought to you live from United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM New Orleans.
You're listening to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, he commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, you know. Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, "Any last wish before you die?" Yo, reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, "Fill your claw, you son of a bitch." Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
Okie dokie. Jay's dying on us as we write us the song ends. Listen, he's dying. The Reaper come for his ass. Well, welcome to UFO Undercover, everybody. How are y'all doing out there in the great, big, beautiful planet we call, well, whatever you want to call it? Well, because, you know, y'all people call it Earth. Jay calls it Soul. I call it Terra. I mean, so it's whatever you feel like calling it. Yeah, it's whatever. It doesn't matter.
As far as our official star map goes, the system we're in is the Sol system, and the planet we're on is Sol 3, and our moon is Sol 3 lowercase a.
3 people, 3. Yes, because you ever see the TV show Third Rock from the Sun? Ooh, there you go. I'm sorry, I was being a smart ass. It's well, I know some of you millennials and Z-Gens might not have heard Third Rock from the Sun. No, y'all might not have seen it. No,
It was a pretty good show.
it was a goofy show, that's for sure.
It was
But
goofy.
yeah, I mean, you can check it out. It's still out there, and you might even be able to get it for free. It depends where you watch your TV at. Actually, Brandon, we might as well talk about it now. So, Doctor Who sucks. So let's move on. So, uh, look, guys. I mean, first off, I mean, woke is all fine, but this is just kind of ridiculously woke. And I know that Disney and BBC somehow got some kind of finger, doing each other deal going on, but it's it just I watched I didn't even know it was out. I watched all episodes the last 2 nights, and there was eight episodes. Waited what 2 years to get 8 episodes. This guy might have been a decent doctor if they would have given some script, just like Jodie Whittaker might have been a decent doctor if they would have gave her some script. No, they didn't. But they bring her back for like 8 seconds in the last episode. Yeah, when he's dying. Oh, he turns into Bill Piper. I don't know if y'all know who Bill Piper is, but
Billy Piper, the first, she was the first new companion.
yeah, she was Rose Tyler. Yes, supposedly living in an alternate dimension with an alternate doctor with one heart. Yes, so just screw lore, I guess. Well, at least they had another doctor in this one. They had a lady doctor who did a split in two kind of thing, like he did when he came into being. It's well, people watch it for yourselves. And tell me what you think. I mean, it's sad. It's first off, you used to get in the first 10 years of the Doctor, the first 5 years of Doctor, you got 52 episodes. Then after that, you got 26 episodes. Now you get 8, and you get 8 every 2 years. Those are 26 episodes a year. Now you get 8. Yes, 8. Now, for me, if a series doesn't give you at least 14, so that's a month and 2 holidays, one a month and 2 holidays.
So,
I don't
well,
think
the way
it's
it works, I don't know how it works in British television, but in American television, a full season for a half-hour show was usually 22 to 32 episodes. And that's half hours. For a full hour show, it was up to 40 episodes in a season, but usually they gave them right around 25 to 35 in that same span. And 40, 50 years ago, TV shows that were half an hour, they were 24 to 25 minutes long with about 5 minutes of commercials. Now they're 22 with about 7 or 8. Hour-long shows used to be 56 minutes long, and you got 4 minutes of commercials. Now they're like 48, and you get 12 minutes worth of commercial.
Well, technically, what you get now is you get a 40-minute broadcast with 20 minutes of free time. Now, not all that's commercial. Some of that's station ID and other bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But most of that's commercial. If you ever go on coast to coast, which I love coast to coast, and I love Georgia, I always have a fun time going. But so on a 4-hour show, you literally only get 2 hours of talk time. That's it.
Yeah.
And at least 40 minutes that's going to be Q&A. So be prepared to talk really fast.
Yeah, but on the radio, you got I don't know how George Noe's show goes, but some shows there's a little bit of music, a little bit of talk, a little bit of commercial, music talk commercial, and that's what.
Well, so like if we did it properly, we would be going on a break right now. 3 minutes in, we take a 3-minute break. Usually a station ID plus a commercial, and then we come back and we talk for about 20 minutes. And then we would take a 5 to 10 minute break, depending on, how long the show was going to be. And then we talk again, and then we take a little short break right before the top of the hour, and then a break at the top of the hour. Yes. So what happens is it gets chopped up. So you get 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes. That's 10 minutes, and on both sides, that's 20 minutes off your hour. It's kind of sad. It's 40. I mean, 40 minutes isn't bad, but I mean, really and truly, they should do is give you the full hour and have 10 minutes on each side of the break. I mean, each side is 10 minutes before the start of the show, 10 minutes after the end of the show.
Which is kind of the way PBS works. Although it's not commercial, You get to see the whole show. Then in between, on either end, there's either promos or what's coming up next, and maybe a little news blurb real quick, and then they go to the next show. That's the way it should be. But I understand that the networks need to pay for their electricity and their equipment and all that, but basically they are content providers, and they provide very little content. I mean, literally in an hour you get 44 to 48 minutes maximum of content. The rest is all commercial and television breaks and whatnot. And it's
and some of that content is just, hey, it's us, we're here doing this.
Most of the content is lackluster any days. I'm watching old shows that I watched 30, 40 years ago. I've rewatched the original Frasier show, the whole thing from season 1 to season last, twice already in the last year. That's how bad streaming and television is nowadays.
No, because it's all just a copy of something else. Is what it is.
It's crap.
It's just a remake of something else. Ginger, we do commercials. Well, if we're not running commercials, we're running promos, and promos are different because promos belong to us, so we can do them as we want. So what happens is on the big shows, not a 2-hour show, but like News on the Flip Side or the Chat, which are both 3.5 hour shows, it's different. We'll run 4 minutes usually of promos and one song, which is between 3 and 6 minutes. So anywhere from 6 to 9 minute commercials, and that's because we're going to talk, and we always talk over, so we always run over like a half hour, so it makes up for any commercial time we have inside the broadcast. And not all of them are. Some of them are short. Some, like the other night, some of the songs were 2.5 minutes with no promos. So that was a very short break. That was enough. Run to the bathroom, run back.
Yeah,
go heat your coffee. Yeah, it's not even time to get a cup of coffee. Just heat it up and run back. No, Jeff, it's just one of the ways we do it. It's just we have to break hosts in because we're going to be adding stuff in the future, but not promos like you do. We're kind of stuck. Because we're a public radio, so there's only certain ways we can get money. Yeah, so when you hear us talk about stuff like Folgers is a sponsor. They sponsor the Outer Realm. That's what they do. Carnation sponsors all of Monday and some of Saturday. So they're not actually, and we can't really, all we can do is mention them. It's not like a full-blown commercial. We're not allowed to do a full-blown commercial. Different. Yeah, I don't make the rules. Go watch PBS.
Yeah, it's like they used to do commercials in the 50s. Like they did commercials live, and oftentimes the actors in the show would step off the stage to a dark, like a dark background, and they would talk about the product, whether it's soap or a cigarette. They even sold cigarettes, and the actor would smoke the cigarette on TV, and they would talk about it for a few seconds, and then they would go back to the show.
Yes, people. No, I'm a non-smoker. Oh, no, I'm anti-evil smoking cigarettes. I can't say what I should because this is a PG show, but y'all come on Friday night and I'll tell you how evil them cigarettes are.
Yeah, I'm still trying to quit. They're terrible to get rid of.
You mean, no, I smoked. I smoked for a long time, 30 years or so. It's not an easy thing to give up. No, my wife fights with it all the time. Whether she's going to give it up or not. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Oh, and that's another thing. Since we brought up the X word, who's going to get custody of X? I know it's Elon's kid, but I think he might want to go home with Daddy Trump. I'm thinking, I know, Daddy, I love you. You got more money, but I want to go with Trump. Trump's way more fun. He got big jets and stuff.
Joe, why is Paratruth still on?
They shouldn't be on any of the.
It's live right now.
Yeah, but it shouldn't. Look and see if there's any destinations. They're probably doing a recording.
They might be recording, yeah.
Yeah. So if they got destinations, that means they're live, and then they get in trouble. But if they don't have destinations other than where they're sending it to,
they don't. Tell from this. Oh, there's the edit thing. Let me see.
Yeah, no, I've seen them do it before because I called Michelle about it one time, and then I realized as I was calling Michelle, they didn't have destinations.
Okay.
Yes, Janine. Yes, we do have pre-records. Pre-records irritate me. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I'm not a big fan of pre-records. I like my host to be live so they can do dumb stuff. And well, Frank, when you're live, you're live. No, actually, what we're going to talk about tonight, really and truly, is how do you match UFO UFO. How do you match an alien craft to an alien? What aliens are flying? What? I
And
mean,
that's a
so
question I've always wondered. And I know that at least some of the top secret SAPs, special access programs, have a silhouette book. Like, you know, they gave you in the Navy, they give you silhouettes of enemy planes and boats and things, so you know what they look like from the side.
you have to learn aircraft and boat recognition. It's a requirement in the Navy.
So they must have a UFO recognition.
So the thing is, well, I don't know if the government does, but ICAR does. I can't speak for the government. I've been
Well,
sorely
I'm
disappointed
sure
by.
like I said, some of the special access programs that are working with I guarantee you they do, so they don't shoot down the wrong person.
Well, one, I don't think they can shoot them down. I don't think that's
But
even
if
a
we're
worry
playing with some of their stuff, we might be able to harm their craft. So I mean,
maybe not. It's you got to look at it from my point of view. We're not giving the Ukraine anything that's going to really do any damage to us. Nothing that we can't control.
yeah.
Probably got kill switches and all sorts of shit in it. So they're not going to do anything different than that. They're not going to put themselves in harm's way over us. Now, maybe 100 years, maybe 5,000 years, maybe 500,000 years. See, the problem for us is we don't really understand the advancement. So when you look at a Gray's craft, I'm not even sure if it couldn't absorb a missile. I don't even know if it even needed the shields. I think the skin itself could just absorb it and turn that energy into fuel. So it's
Well,
a
if they don't
different
have an
kind of
energy
technology.
shield outside of the craft that stops it first. You know,
And
you
then,
remember
well, I'm sure they
Independence
have both.
Day,
I'm actually sure that
you bounce
they could
off.
do both.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Greys could do both, but they also have systems that could destroy it. They could actually destroy the system that shot it too. They don't
Yeah.
have to go track it down. They can
They
destroy it from wherever
probably
they
could
happen to
detect the
be.
launch before we hit the go button and destroy the
So,
missile, you know, in situ on its launch pad.
so if by chance we did get technology from them, it's nothing that's going to affect them. I guarantee you, they're making sure of that.
Yeah.
And even that is the fact is, you can't see them anyway. They're not cloaked. They're invisible, which is different. There's no silhouette. There's nothing. There's just that as far as you can tell, they're not there. And we don't know if because they're stepping outside the dimension, or
Or
if they're
their ship
just
operates on
simply
a different frequency.
or they're just simply invisible because they're on a different frequency. So it's
It
these
could
are
also
things that
be
we just
part of
don't
their mind
understand.
powers too. It's another
Well, the
possibility that
Greys for
we just
sure.
not
The
see it.
Greys for sure.
Yeah.
Jesse, the Greys fly the Greys fly a couple of types of saucers. They I don't know why they like the classic saucer. And remember this, when we talk about the Greys have been here. Okay, we'll use a short block, which would be 5,000 years. In reality, it's probably when O negative started or RH negative started, which was about 40 or 50,000 years. So, and the aliens have been here actually longer than that. The reptilians and humans.
I was going
Around
to say,
200.
given at least the last 12,000, 14,000, you know, I'd say.
Yeah, it's somewhere. It's not that we use a short block because everybody goes, "Oh, we're only 6,000 years old," which is not true. We all know it's not true anymore. We found that we're much older than that now. Just the sunken coast city off of 16,000 for the one off of Cuba. We already know about the ones in Egypt puts us around 50, and not Egypt, in India puts us around 15,000 years ago. So
And
I mean,
there's the six Tepes, Göbekli Tepe being the most popular one.
yeah.
That's at least 12 to 14,000, maybe even 16,000.
So and then it seems like recently there may have even been something that popped up on the scene that may even be older than those. So the problem here is when we talk about when did the aliens come? So they were here before what we consider modern civilization, whether it's 6,000, 16,000, they were here before that. The reptilians and humans were for sure.
Yeah.
The Greys came in later on. And the Greys, I think the Greys got sent here because the council was worried about the frickin' reptilians and humans getting into a fight. I mean, after all, the reptilians did come steal their women and rape them and send them back pregnant with little half reptilian, half human babies. I'd be a little pissed off about that myself, wouldn't you? I mean, come on. So I guess, and since the human aliens didn't wipe them out, there had to be something stopping them. And I would think it was the Greys said, no. Well, the council probably told them no. And then the council probably got word and sent the Greys and said, look, you better go spend some time with these idiots before they start an intergalactic war. Because, in cosmic time, the war's been over probably a few million years, but for them, it feels different. It would be like World War II for us. we know it was a bad war, and for anybody older, you can still kind of have a real sense because there was still a lot of those movies and stuff growing up. But for the Z-Gens especially, it's not something that they're familiar with other than learning in school or seeing an occasional movie. It's not really part of their history, just like Vietnam isn't. You know, they really haven't had to deal with any real wars. So it's and so when you look out in the cosmic, it's kind of like that for them. And I guess they just want to make sure there are no more big ass wars because everybody's going to choose sides. If the reptilians and humans get into it, they're going to be starting choosing sides, and then the light beings and the grays will have to get involved, and then a bunch of people are going to die. A bunch of beings are going to die. But if they were talking the truth about the first war or the last war, let me say that because I don't want to say it was the first. I mean, they were talking several 100 billion people died when the light beings found this galaxy ablaze is what they call it. They describe it. They said it was a blaze in blood. They came along. They took the grays. They took the grays and they changed the grays. They enhanced the grays, and the grays went out there with all kind of new technology and said, you know what, you're gonna can stop this or else. And with the backing of the light beams, because when a light beam appears and starts doing its stuff, you instantly get like, shucks, we're in deep dog doo here, and it just doesn't look like something we can win. And then of course here's the Greys with ships that you don't even understand. They phase in and out. They go in and out of dimensions. Their weapons are of not of design of anything they had seen before.
They may have the ability to pass not only through our time continuum, but other time frames, time travel, and dimensional travel. So who knows what they can do?
The Greys said that they can take their ships and fly through another ship and leave it slightly in phase, and it will destroy the other ship without damaging theirs at all.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even need a damn weapon to kill you. Just think if you got a fleet out there, they're just flying around through your fleet. What are you going to do? You can't shoot them because they're out of phase. You're just watching everything die, and nothing you can do about it.
They can take a rock launcher and just launch rocks out of phase from the front of their ship and destroy things.
It's just they're way more advanced than the other races. Even the reptilians and humans would tell you they're in a magnitude of 500 million years more advanced than they are. Easy 500 million years more advanced. And the reptilians and humans aren't slouches. I mean, depending on whose history you want to go with, anywhere from 150 to 500 million years old themselves.
And their estimates are that the reptilian and the man-ship types have about 50 to 100,000 years of advanced technology ahead of us. And that's still significant.
Oh, I bet you it's more of like 50 million.
It might be.
Some of the things I've heard, I don't see that. My problem with all technologies are,
what's his name? Not Lear's, not John Lear, but the guy who was the head of Skunk Works mentioned something to that effect one time. That he thought that they were somewhere in the order of 35,000 to 50,000 light year or years ahead of us in advancement, and that he said that probably back in the mid 70s. So they're at least, I would guesstimate 100,000 years. Just the things that we've heard that they can do.
It's very strange. It's very strange that that they're so scared of, because I've heard many occasions where the Greys the reptilians and the humans would be present, maybe bickering, maybe just talking, and a Grey would walk in and everybody says the same thing. Even the little short 3-foot Greys, they say the same things. They step back and put their heads down. And I still remember one of the guys telling me, he said, Joe, I don't know if it was in respect or in fear. He said, I got the sense it was more of fear than it was respect. Yeah. He said, maybe it was both. He said, I'm just a lowly human. So I don't really know. He said, but he said, from what I saw, he said it was definitely, he said they were definitely worried about him. They did not want to upset him or offend them in any shape, form, or fashion.
Well, and also knowing the descriptions and personalities of the reptilians, they're extremely arrogant. Think they're a lot better than a lot of other creatures. So for them to back down to something that's 3 foot and 60 wet, that means that little 3 foot being could probably toss that 9 foot reptilian across the room without even touching it.
Yeah, they don't like to talk about them because I've had many contactees over the year ask them, but they don't like to talk about the Greys. It's not like a taboo subject. They just I don't think they feel comfortable because I think they feel like the Greys maybe can hear them or something. It does make them a little nervous.
You can hear a lot. I mean, it seems that their brain power is of such that whether you want them to or not, they're able to siphon your thoughts. They're able to read your thoughts without you knowing. And it,
Yeah,
from
and the bad part is I think it's just a habit for them. I don't think it's
yeah,
even a great big power or anything. I think it's just part of what they do.
it's their way. That's their communication. That's their way they talk, and so they have to. They probably don't even. They're probably not even aware of the fact that they're listening in on everybody's voices and inner thoughts.
Yes, Jesse, it is like buttering your toast. You don't think about buttering your toast. You just butter the damn thing and eat it.
Yeah.
You're not actually thinking about what you're doing. You're just doing it. It gets a little weird. The Greys, and it's so funny because when you start looking at stuff, you start reading about them, you start really understanding them, you really find out that, oh no, they are more advanced. But when I first got into this 40 years ago, that's not what I was trained or taught. I was taught they were subservient to all the races. They were used for
That
this,
was
that,
made
and the other
official reports
thing.
in the 60s and 70s. Yeah.
And that's what I was taught. So I went on that assumption that that's what they were. And then the more research I did, the more suspicious it got. Because for a long time they don't show up. So when you look at the Greys, when you're doing the ancient history stuff, you don't see them for a long time. I mean, in the Sumerian and Egypt and Mesopotamia, they're not there. They don't show up in Egypt until like 1,000 years before Christ is born. They just show up, and only on a few hieroglyphs, not even a lot. It wasn't until after that they even started really showing up. And the funny part is when you go look at Mesoamerica for Greys, they ain't there.
There are three.
There are a few, but they're not. I mean, when I say they're not
very
there,
few places. The one place where I know that the Greys are depicted is in is it Ollantaytambo. There's a rock wall with a series of like pillars that jut out, and each pillar has a different sculpt on it, and it's got sculptures of every face on the planet: Asian, South American, North American, European, everybody. But then it's got three weird ones. It's got a gray, a reptilian, and what might be considered a mantid or a different type of gray.
it is a very
It's weird.
it's very very few. So when you look at these people, so there's nothing in the Toltecs at all. Just there's just no Greys with the Toltecs. Really, the people before them, which there's less information about them than there was about the Toltecs, and there's very little about the Toltecs.
Is with the
But
Olmecs.
yeah. So there's just so little information. The problem is there's no real written language for either one of them. There's every now and then there's some carvings here and there, but there's just no real written language.
They're quoted as having been responsible for like there's 7 or 8 giant boulders that are carved into again various sculpts of human faces, and again they have Asian and North American and European type faces on these different giant boulders, but they have no known written language or hieroglyphs. I mean, it's weird.
And that was one of the problems. You didn't really start seeing a written language. Was it the Incans, the Aztecs, Mayans, whichever one it was? I keep forgetting which one came first.
Mayan,
but
probably.
So anyway, you start finding a written language in there, and they actually talk about the people before them, just not a lot. Even they didn't have much information. Matter of fact, they talk about the races as just disappearing, kind of like the Nazcans. They just disappeared. There were several races in South America that just went bye-bye, left their cities intact. There was nothing, just bye-bye. And there are reasons why cities get abandoned. I mean, they're not all cosmic and alien. Or I mean, sometimes
they could thought there was a plague or evil spirit. A virus might have gone through and started, people dying, and they thought, well, we need to leave. This place is cursed, and so they leave for those kinds of reasons. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, resources. Sometimes it just happens that you get abandoned cities, but there are places where you have cities. With cities there, but the tools are there, whatever else is there, the everyday things they use in life is there. Those cities are strange. Because when you find one like that, it's just okay. Something happened to the people all at one time, and they're not buried under ash. There's no bones or anything. So where did they go? And the Mayans, Aztecs, and the Incans talk about it. Even some Native Americans talk about that. There are some Native American tribes, according to Native Americans, that just went poof, like the Pueblo. Poof, they were gone. They were just gone. I mean,
people
no.
still to this day disappear without a trace. Millions
But
of people.
but it's funny how this works, though, because these were civilizations that were kind of advanced for their time that disappeared, that were taken. So maybe if you advance too fast, now it's a lot harder. Just it's out of here because there's a lot of us, and we have media now.
Yeah, but
I
was going to say there's a lot of ignorance on the planet still, on top of how many there are of us.
And maybe none of us are reaching that level of technology or worried about it. I mean, I imagine they want us to advance at certain rates.
A level of technology or a level of consciousness or thought. Maybe some peaceful South American tribes are disappearing thousands of years ago not because they developed the phaser gun, but because they developed a philosophy that jibes with one of the 3 or 4 races.
Chris, the humans use best way you can describe it is a triangle, but they also, what's funny about them and the reptilians both use square motherships, and the Greys use a round mothership.
It's like a cylinder.
Yeah, it's and they have, and actually Jay's right. There's actually 2 different. Now that he said that, there's these long ones, which are cylinders, and they can hold any. I don't know. It seems to vary how many damn ships they can hold.
It's a helicarrier. It has
That's what it is. And then
200 saucers in it. I don't know.
And then there's that moon-shaped one, which has only been seen a half a dozen times. It's actually been seen by a couple of astronomers because they thought they found a moon, and the guy said it moved, and everybody was making fun of it because it moved. It changed direction. Actually, it started going the opposite way of the planet. The way it should be going. It's and then they saw the 4 cube things at the base of the moon. I mean, not the base of the moon, the base of the sun. Like they were scooping up energy, and then NASA came out and said, "Oh, it was some kind of weird lens thing with the camera that was watching it." So it happened again. And then they said, "Oh no, it was the same lens thing." And then did it on another camera, and they were like, "Well, we're not sure what it is now."
Well, there's a picture going around of Saturn, and like in between, like Saturn's like the ball here, and the rings go around, and in between Saturn and the rings is what appears to be a very large craft. I mean, it's not quite the size of Saturn, but it's
so. I mean, the
bigger than our moon.
The triangles they've seen on this planet or there may be 60 by 60. We know that the one that was over in Tampa at that time was 2 miles by 2 miles by probably a mile or 2 thick. That's big, but that's not a mothership. That's maybe some other type of carrier. Maybe it's a triangle carrier. I don't know, but it was big. And then there's like 4 or 5 different sizes of these triangles, and they all seem to use these orb things for probes. All of them seem to use them.
I've seen a trash can. Essentially it would be just the barrel of this dude, just the barrel part, not the round part. Basically that was flying up in the sky above my work in Savannah, and it was 20, 30, 40 people saw it. I mean, every customer that came through, we told them, "Hey, look up in the sky, see if that thing is still there."
When it comes to probes, look, I don't. They're like us with drones when it comes to probes. They come in all shapes and sizes, and some of them frickers are big. The thing they seen out of Arizona was
at my point of view, I say it was about the size of like a silver, 33-gallon trash, metal outdoor trash can you would normally have, but it was way up high in the sky. It was probably 1,000 feet up, and it was, I'd say, 4 or 5 blocks down the road from me. So again, another 1,000 feet downwind and 1,000 feet in the air. Had it come to me, it probably would have been as large as a truck.
It's you see these things. It's they've had like the ones out in Arizona. They were probably car size. They were just big globes. They would rise up, and this gold shit would drip off of them, and then they would set back down and disappear. The one we all seen in So the one we seen in Gulf Breeze, actually technically, Gulf Breeze, the mayor seen it, the police chief seen it, Unsolved Mysteries was there. There was about 500 other people on the bridge on the fishing pier. So I spotted this green thing out 600 or 700 yards, and I seen it coming out of the bay, and I'm like, what the hell is that? Underwater drone or something? And back then there really wasn't drones, but I was hoping it's glowing. Comes up and goes underneath the fishing pier, goes underneath the regular bridge, and goes underneath the train bridge, goes out about 100 yards and stops and starts glowing this really gold weird color. It rises out of the water it was like a big bubble coming out of the water, and it got up, I don't know, about 100 feet out, and you notice there was this. It just looked like liquid gold rolling off and going into droplets and then dropping in the water, and whatever it was, when it hit the water, it disappeared. And it just sat there, and everybody's snapping pictures, and half the people didn't even start snapping pictures until like 5 minutes after it was out the water, because everybody was just stunned. And so everybody was shooting, doing this.
I don't know, at least 3 or 4, not just your story, but 3 or 4 other stories of the same kind of gold dripping off. In one case, it's like a black soot or like a lava dripping off. And one guy, I don't remember who it was, but it was probably in the late 70s or early 80s, swore that he saw this black stuff oozing like molten metal dripping off of this saucer craft. And then he went to the area after the craft flew away, and he says he found the evidence, and he has this rock. Well, the rock he has is, I forget what it is, somebody's teardrop. So basically what it is, it's a tektite. You know what a tektite is?
I think I'd be removed.
An asteroid or something from outer space slams into a rock bed on the Earth, and when it does so, it instantly flash boils that rock and turns it into moltenness, and it goes bloop, and it splashes like water, and that rock recongeals in a teardrop shape, and I think they call it I think they call them Montezuma's tears, is one name for them, but the actual mineral name is tektite, and it's just obsidian. It's naturally formed obsidian from a meteorite striking a rock bed on Earth, which is a very cool rock to have. I have one somewhere, but the gold stuff is weird. It's hard to, because there's no one's found any evidence of it, but it's 3 or 4 other people besides Joe that's seen the same exact thing.
Well, it's weird. Well, no, there's the one in Arizona. I mean, I haven't checked recently, but it was a regular event for a long time. It was happening on a daily event. You could go out there and see it. And nobody ever figured out what it was. The military went out there.
One in Russia, it wasn't dripping, but it was over a lake, and it appeared to be like a jellyfish. People could describe it as a jellyfish, but it was energy. And there was a craft underneath the glowing energy part, but they said it was dripping either tentacles or energy into and I think it was Lake Baikal, by the way, in Russia. Mm-hmm. But in any event, it was apparently putting the energy into the water. You heard about that one, yes?
No, but I heard about something like it. See, that's the thing. They got weird stuff like that going. What's that? No, Pete. It's one right out. So the Naskins you're talking about? No, those were humans, human aliens. I would imagine most of the Mesoamericans were dealing with reptilians.
Yeah.
For the most part. Well, I mean, their god is a reptile.
Yeah, feather serpent.
Yeah. Yes. I always want to call him Kublai Khan, but that's whatchamacallit.
Well, the Kublai Khan is one form of him. I think that was the group before them, what they called him. The Mayans called him Quetzalcoatl, but it's the same dude.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same person, described in both ways from both cultures, exactly the same way, with exactly the same realms of knowledge or power or whatever.
So Raymond, just to throw a little wrench into your pocket here, one of the problems with the creation dream is that the creation myth is that it's not just in the Bible; it's actually before the Bible. Yes, and it's several
years before the Bible.
So a lot of people talk about a serpent, a reptilian, bringing knowledge. So when you heard us earlier in this show talking about the Sumerians and the reptilians used to go down, the Dogon talked about this as well, which is a tribe from Egypt. I mean, from Africa, or I should say the Middle East. I guess I should say the Middle East, but still, whatever. It's somewhere up there, Middle East, Africa. But
Well, it's eastern seaboard of Africa, and it's just below Saudi Arabia where they are. I don't know if it's Ethiopia or what, but
Yeah, well, they think they're descendants of Egyptians, or Egyptians are their descendants,
yes,
one or the other. They talk, but they were very, very advanced people. But they talked about the Nemos, which were reptilians that used to come, park their ship in the water, and come out and teach them all kinds of stuff.
and the Jomon of ancient Japan and Korea speak of the exact same creatures that they came out of the water, not out of the sky, out of the water, to teach them animal husbandry, how to seed, how to grow a crop, how to irrigate, government, blah blah, the same thing. The same stories we
They
have
taught.
over here starts in Japan as well.
So it seems like the reptilians had a big hand in man's upbringing. So did the human aliens. Like I said, the Greys didn't come till later on. The Greys came in and decided, okay, reptilians and humans, you can't keep just freely giving crap out anymore. All right, it's going to stop here. We're going to limit the kind of technologies that you can just be sharing. Because in the beginning, they were probably sharing a lot of technologies with us, not stuff that we wouldn't have figured out on our own, because a lot of it is just basic. But it was short.
There are several quick major leaps forward. I mean, just before the gasoline age and the steam age, they made leaps and bounds. I mean, they were literally afraid. Doctors were scared to death. Like, oh no, the human body can't withstand going more than 25 miles an hour when they were thinking about building the trains. And then what happened? They put people on trains, and trains go how much? And the old steam trains go 35, 40 miles an hour. Yeah. They didn't realize
the new bullet trains do 300.
Yeah, nobody exploded. So.
Well, they did the same thing when they said, "Oh, you can't break the speed of sound, and you can't break Mach 1." Then it was Mach 5, then it was Mach 15.
We've broken Mach 10.
So actually, no, we've broken Mach 30. Every time the shuttle re-enters, No, anytime the shuttle re-enters, it enters between Mach 26 and Mach 30.
Down, but we can't attain.
But that's still, you're still rolling along at Mach 30, my friend. Your body's still feeling this stress.
You're a stone falling out. You're ballistic. You have no control.
But I'm saying is your body is still feeling the same.
When we can achieve on our own power Mach 30 and maintain it and control the craft at that speed, that's something. When we're falling out of the sky at Mach 30, that's a little different story.
Well, no, we could hold it. We could fly it. I mean, we landed it. We didn't crash.
Have you seen the shuttle land?
Yes, many times.
It's a brick. Have you heard? And you've interviewed.
But they say it handles like a brick, but it still flies. A brick would crash.
It doesn't fly. It's a lifting. It falls. There's no power. When that thing is coming back to Earth, there's no gas in it. It is out of energy.
No, it's like a glider. The gliders fly. They don't fall.
It's strictly ballistic. There is no control. Oh yeah, okay, you can steer it a little bit.
No, what do you mean? They change course and everything with the damn thing.
You can't accelerate and you can't slow down.
They can slow down. They can't accelerate. That's the problem. They can slow down all they want. They just do it at a certain way. It pays.
They let the atmosphere friction slow them down.
They
call it a free return trajectory. Really, what that means is you take a rock and you throw it. There's your free return.
No, but those free returns got parachutes if they need them. They can always slow down.
Yes,
it's the shuttle is the way it flies as it comes in, but the point is we're not even worried about that. All we're talking about is Mach 30 on the body is what we're talking about.
Yeah,
it's still pulling Mach 30, and it's not squashing you like a bumblebee. Yes,
true. But we can't. Our current fighter craft can't achieve Mach 30. However, every fighter pilot who's ever seen a UFO go from 0 to they are estimating at least Mach 30 for those.
The only propelled plane I know right now that can do Mach 15 is DARPA's little thing. It can do Mach 15, Mach 16. It's been clocked cruising past Pensacola Naval Air Station at around Mach 16. That's not the only thing. The TR-3B's been clocked around Mach 18, Mach 19.
It's a solid fuel rocket, isn't it?
No, not this thing. This is some kind of little plane. It takes off and lands.
And it doesn't use solid fuel.
No. Well, no, it may have both. It might be. It might be like the.
$5 it's using solid fuel.
No, the Aurora has 3 engines.
Yes,
it has a solid fuel. It has a ram scoop, and it has a jet. whatever you call it, jet,
Oh,
scramjet.
scramjet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it has all 3 engines, and that's how it flies. Because
Well, I think it also has an ion propellant in it too.
it might, but I mean that's the same thing for these. These use multiple engines now. The one that DARPA's flying, I know, has at least 2 engines on it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't use a solid rocket to get it into space.
I mean, we at our current technology rate, if we were to make a multimedia or multi-atmospherical craft, one that can go through water, air, and space and lava, we would need probably 4 or 5, 6 different engines. UFOs, they don't. They can fly in and out. We've seen them flying in and out of volcanoes, in and out of the water, in and out of space, and in and out of our atmosphere without any kind of impediment. Period.
Yes, because they're probably using when they're here, they're probably even using a gravity or a magnetic drive, something simple.
And our only multimedia craft has been sub-launched ballistic missiles, and when they launch, they come up, they hit the water, and they go. They
stop.
where they start to fall, and then the engine kicks in, and they boom. So
there's a second where you're holding your breath, hoping that freaking thing doesn't fall in the submarine.
Don't ignite underwater.
It's one of those things.
Millions of flash-boiled fish.
Oh no, they shoot them out like they pressurize them and pop them like corks.
Well,
that's how they shoot.
They also, some of them have an attachment that's basically a torpedo screw that turns on and gives it some lift out of the water, and then that breaks off before the engines ignite.
Yes, I know it had nothing to do with UFOs, but it's no. We were actually talking about how fast stuff comes in and re-enters. Yeah. Top speed right now is probably around Mach 30.
UFOs got us hands down. We don't have anything that can anywhere approach their takeoff speeds. From 0 to Mach 30, we can't do it. It's impossible.
Oh no! Well, Pete, the fastest thing we have.
Do, but with our technology, it is not.
So the fastest thing we have doesn't fly in our atmosphere. No, I'm sorry. The fastest thing that flew in our atmosphere was probably the space shuttle and whatever this DARPA thing they're flying right now.
Yeah.
Other than that, there are things way faster than that. We actually have craft that are lickety-splickety, man, doing like 8th light speed and stuff. But they're way, way, way out in space. And then we got some that are closer in, but even they're hauling ass. Plasma drives are pretty fast once they get rolling. And when you talk about Voyager 1 and 2, the way they operate is they just keep getting faster.
Well, but Voyager 1, I believe it's Voyager 1, I don't think it was the second one, but one of the two went off grid for a long time. Was it 8 months?
Yeah, it was off for a while. I don't know how, but it was off for a while.
It was offline for 8 months, and they thought they had a fatal malfunction. When it came back, it was repaired, but it didn't repair itself. And then just recently, Voyager 1 also it's got microphones. It picked up a song in outer space, not from Earth.
The more they're out there, the more stuff they're going to pick up. It's like one of the rovers. Was it the first rover was roving around on Mars and it just quit, and one day it just started working again. Somebody went out there. It looked like somebody went out there with a little scrudgy pad, cleaned off the solar panel, shined it up because they get dust devils, and a dust devil had hit the thing. But I guess whatever it was, and maybe it was a dust devil with heavy sand, kind of re-shined it up, and it kept it going. All those missions up there, except for the helicopter, have outlived their way past what they were supposed to. The helicopter just, it was kind of crappy built. I mean, it looked like it would fall over easy and stuff. I mean, I wasn't real impressed with it. I got to say, it's kind of like just a square.
It's not a great design idea. If you want to recon a planet of sand, you don't send a craft that kicks up sand.
I just don't like you know what? They should have just went with a traditional design. Just one of the bigger ones with a traditional fold-up design. They could have got it up above anything up there, cruised it along, gave it an autopilot command so they don't have to keep changing and screwing with it every 15 minutes. Well, now we have pretty good AI, so they need to go ahead and send another one.
Well, and we also have pretty decent, radars and lidar, so we could easily do, follow the contours of terrain.
And then they got in that thing where they wanted to bring it back and forth from the base. No, it's the charges on its own, and you don't need to go back to the base. Just go, fly it out there. Let it be free, baby. Let it be free. Oh, we're gonna find stuff on Mars we didn't know was there. You can bet your ass on that. But
Well,
anyway, so we were talking about the humans and so the
and we
human
took
aliens,
regular
yes,
craft to square
uh,
carriers.
and we know they were involved for sure with the Naskins in South America. I don't know. There's not much else on them in South America. There really isn't a lot more. Hey, Michael.
Hey,
There's not.
Mike.
Hey, Mike. There's really not that much more information on them on South America. They got a few mentions of the human type aliens in North America. You got definitely all over the Middle East, but not so much in Mesoamerica. It's almost like the reptilians had pretty much had the continent to themselves, at least until Christopher or what's his face came over.
Columbus.
No, not Columbus. The other guy that went and screwed with the Mayans.
The conquistador.
Yeah. Cortez.
Cortez and Mr. Conquistador himself. You know, it's always funny that they found those conquistador helmets up there where the Pueblos were. They found a couple of them. At first, they said there was one. I think there was three they found all together. Never found any skeletons or anything. No heads that went with them or anything. Matter of fact, the one of the local
taken as spoils of war once they killed them.
no, well, one of the local natives said it was a trade. They said it's in some song where they talk about trading to the forgot what he called them, white something or another. Yeah, well, you're an Indian. First time you seen a white man and all this stuff, you're thinking, what the hell is this?
Well, it was also part of their prophecy that they would be eventually greeted by a white man with red hair.
Oh yeah, the Mayans. Yeah, the poor Mayans were
Cortez
screwed.
was a red-headed Spaniard.
I wonder why the South Americans don't get reparations for all that gold the Spanish brought back. I mean, Jesus, 3 shipfuls of gold or 2 shipfuls of gold.
More than that.
So that's a lot. Yeah. We don't know how long it was going back and forth for.
They were very enterprising.
Oh yeah, so and there was lots and lots of
gold. In Florida, I mean, the conquistadors went through Florida, and I mean, like before.
Yeah. That's where Ponce de Leon was.
Yep, all across the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, well, the oldest city in the country is in Florida.
Yeah,
St. Augustine.
Before Columbus.
St. Augustine, that's it. They say it's one of the most haunted cities in the country. I know a lot of researchers like to go there and go ghost
city too, by the way.
It's weird the way it's built. I mean, it's got the high wall so they could drive the armies in and
Well, I mean, it was built, in a time when the main conveyance was horses. So
yeah, well, I mean but those are designed because they have they're like 18-foot walls there, so you couldn't get the pikes over them or anything. That's where you could get all the people in there and drive them in and just start dropping stuff on top of them, flaming them up, dropping hot oil on them, all kind of gross, fun stuff.
Yeah, but I mean the street setup is also horse
like P Diddy hot oil or like
that works. Hey, they might have known Diddy. Them aliens might have had a thing for Diddy. It's no Jeffrey. It's so the Greys just seem to just pop up. Like I said, out of nowhere, because there's no writings about them interfering with anybody until much later on, and even then, they weren't exactly interfering. They were just kind of doing whatever the hell they wanted to do. I mean, they kind of just took over alien abduction. They might have even been the ones that created it.
Or started it, yeah.
Yeah, they might have came in and started doing it just to see what the freaking humans and reptilians had been doing for a couple of years.
They were horny, and they just wanted to say, let's get it on.
The Greys are sexually based or sexually driven, so I don't think that's...
That's
true, and the humanoids.
Yeah, the Greys, well, the reptilians and humans for sure, but the Greys...
Barry White on there.
The Greys seem to have a different, I think they breed differently is what it comes down to. It's speaking of that, on just a complete side note that has nothing to do with this show, but they finally completed the first official Japan built an artificial moon.
Really?
Oh yeah.
An artificial womb.
Yeah, it's big story. Big story. I was reading it earlier today. It's ladies, your days are numbered. Just kidding, y'all. It's you always got the Greys. They'll come see you. Like say, you put some Barry White on, the Greys will come hang out with you. No, I mean really, when you
I'm opening up a pub on the moon called Mick's Pub, Purgatory Mick. You find Purgatory Mick on the moon.
that's right, just call it Purgatory Mixed Place.
Just look for Purgatory.
That's a better name. That's a better name.
It's in the Sea of Tranquility, Purgatory.
Oh, I guess we really haven't talked about the reptilian ships, or we talked a little bit about what societies they were messing around with, mostly Mesoamericans.
Mm-hmm.
They are in some of the, like the Dogon and a few others in Europe and the Middle East. They seem to have been everywhere, but the humans seem to
the way the
first.
Dogon and the Jomon, two different sides of the planet, describe their experiences. The Dogon call them the Numos. I forget what the Jomon called them, but they described them as almost like an amphibian creatures that were like spacesuits, but they're not spacesuits. They're scuba suits. They're reverse scuba suits. So like the Dogu figures, Mr. Hare always calls them like space figurines. They're not. The creatures came out of the water. If he would have done his research instead of just repeating what everyone else says to him, he would have known that it's a creature that came out of the water. And this creature the creatures breathe water. So their suits were a reverse scuba. It was like a water breathing suit for these water breathing creatures to interact with the ancient early people.
Yeah, because I know the Dogon, when they said they were, milling around with them, they weren't wearing any gear. But when they went back in the water, they were.
All tribal people on the planet. It doesn't matter if it's Native American, Aboriginal, who, don't matter. They all look to these aliens as beneficiaries. Like they were the shepherds, and they don't fear them. They're not even weirded out or anything. And they're very matter of fact about it. So I think that's pretty cool. Did you see the Pentagon release about Area 51 saying, "Oh yeah, we planted all those stories because we wanted to distract people that we were doing advanced weapon testing there." Now, let me ask you, Joe and Jay, when did you ever hear the government admit they're doing advanced weapon testing anywhere, ever, anywhere, ever like that? A single out of place. So obviously they're diverting. Obviously it's a bunch of BS because first of all, they don't have to say anything. They don't even have to make a statement. The very fact they made a statement tells you that there's something to it. You know what I mean? But yeah, hey, we're doing advanced weapons testing right over here. Check it out, China and Russia.
Yeah.
Well, but it's funny you say that, Mike, because
that's saber rattling right there. That's all that is.
No, but it's a little weird because when you drive up to Eglins Air Force Base, it says non-nuclear facility for testing all non-nuclear weapons made by us. All non-nuclear weapons, whatever. It could be a gun, could be a plane, could be a boat. Doesn't matter. They test it all. Well, this gets even creepier. So when you drive down to where Panama Beach is, and there's a big forest out there, and there's another Navy base, or actually Air Force bases, or it's an Air Force base, and it's got not one but two chemical facilities in it, and it's got on a little bitty white sign on this little freaking dirt road. It says, "Do not enter. Weapons testing for biological whatever." I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Excuse my language. We videotaped the whole thing. It was a whole weird, and it was other creepy. We drove 4 hours through that forest without ever seeing not even one person. It was just creepy.
I just think it's funny that here they are trying to say, no, it's not this. It's this other stuff that we're.
Well, yeah, they're all going to divert. I mean, they've
been doing that. That's par for the course. They've been doing that for the last 70 years.
They're always going to divert. I mean, that's just who and what they are. But it's the government. In all fairness, the government has used the UFO thing to cover up stuff for a long time. It's like Kecksburg.
Look at the livestock. Look at the animals.
Right. In the 80s, the funny thing is that. And I wasn't sure, but I kept saying it throughout the 80s. I'm like, I'll bet you one of these things that we keep seeing is going to be one of ours. And I was thinking it was going to be one of our reverse engineered UFOs, and we'd have when it came out, we'd be like, hey, look, we can do George Jetson stuff. No, it was the F-117 stealth fighter. Everyone was seeing this over a certain corridor across the top northern part of the country, and you know, it was a lot of sightings, and everyone was excited. It's like, oh, yay, this must be one of ours. And then it turns out to be this super cool fighter we find out in 1993, which decimated the entire Iraqi Air Force in a matter of 15 minutes.
They well, you know, that's funny. I always tell people, if when you look at stuff and you see them, look and see where the non-fly zones, the no-fly zones are around you. It gives you an idea of what you're seeing and what you're not seeing. Um, but you know, Area 51 was doing something because they scooped all that other territory up because people were seeing too much of what they were doing, whatever they were doing. They were scooping it. But as far as us testing stuff, we have facilities all over the United States that test weird stuff. Just
There's
some of them.
near me, and I don't remember the name of it, but it allegedly has weird stuff going on. Red lights flying out of the mountain at night. It's UFO like.
And some of that now might be drones they're testing and building.
It could be, yeah.
Oh, and speaking of that, anybody ever know what happened to the drones in Pennsylvania and in New Jersey? They just went away.
Exactly.
The phenomenon ceased. Yeah.
They don't admit it. They never admit stuff.
Well,
That's why
the reason why they didn't do it again is because whoever did it got whatever data they were looking for.
Or they got busted, one or the other.
Or they got busted. But I think they got the data. If they'd gotten busted, you damn sure Trump would have said, we got them.
No, it depends what they got busted for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, some sensitive stuff they're not going to admit that they're just. But I mean, our government's used this for a long time, saying, "Hey, look, you know, it's a UFO." Yeah, I mean, it was a great thing. Area 51. Oh, that's UFOs flying around it. Then no, it's not. And that's what makes me always wonder about the Phoenix Lights. I mean, that whole area where it was flying was a big no-fly zone. So I'm kind of wondering. Well, nobody sent up any jets to go check it out.
No. And they tried to deflect it as flares.
Which they would have had to been jets up there dropping, and you would have seen and heard the jets. Or helicopters. Yeah, it could have been either one. But nobody heard or saw any of that.
And flares don't hang over a city for hours. How long is a flare? It's a parachute. 5 minutes? If you're lucky.
No. You got what they call them, ground flares. So they'll go from 5,000, maybe 8,000 feet all the way to the ground. But they're moving downward.
Yeah.
Or they're moving sideways.
They only stay lit for so long.
You know, now I know they've been working on keeping them up in the air longer, so because you know that gives you light over a battlefield.
But still, the flare isn't going to burn for hours.
No, not that I know of. I've never heard of any flares that burn for hours.
It moves 5 minutes. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. But yeah, they're not. I can't see them burning. You know, maybe you'll get a 20-minute burn time out of something. Maybe even a 30. Navy had 30-minute flares, but Navy had 30-minute flares that burned underwater too. By the way,
yeah.
But they were phosphorus and something else mixed.
Yes.
And in all fairness, freaking things were this big around and this long. It's not like some little flare. So they were designed to burn long, but. Even that, I mean, I used to hear them bitch about they would break in half sometimes when they were jettisoned, so you would lose half the flare, and so you'd only get half the time burning. But they had been developing them for a while, and then they came up with something else. It was like a glow stick for the air. It was weird looking, but it was weird, glowy, greeny, and it would spread out across the sky. That would last about 20 or 30 minutes, but I haven't seen anything go past that mark. I just, you know, I'm sure they got something in mind, but I haven't.
I only want you guys to see enough so that they can get to their next objective without getting, you know, tripping on leaves and vines and shit.
And flares don't exactly burn perfectly evenly and stuff, especially when you're dropping them at different intervals. So I don't know.
Yeah,
the Phoenix Light was interesting, but the fact that no one scrambled any jets and so many people saw it makes me wonder what it was. And then of course, what made me think it might be alien is how few people saw it. I mean, it was right there hovering over Phoenix, 2 million people in Phoenix, and hardly anyone in Phoenix themselves saw it. The people in the mountains or who saw it, you know, the ones that were kind of eye level with the damn thing, a lot of them saw it, but even that was less than 16,000 people. So, I mean, it just doesn't make sense how few people, especially because it was on TV. It was like the Mexico City sighting. I mean, they're on TV talking about it.
Local television cameras actually captured some of the footage, yes.
But yet, Other people didn't see it.
Yeah. And then the was it the mayor of Phoenix did that stupid thing with the guy dressed up as an alien and just totally made complete debauchery of the whole incident.
Yeah, because he didn't want Phoenix to be known as an alien city like Roswell or some other city.
No, too late. The bell was rung before he brought that alien dude out.
But anyway, Chris, getting back to the so the Greys, the Greys, the reptilian ship they use the most is only way I can describe it is elongated saucer. It looks like a gray saucer, but it looks like someone put a hook on each end and just stretched the son of a bitch out.
They're more ellipsoid than saucer-like.
Yeah, they really are. But like their center section is built like a gray craft, suggesting maybe they're using that some type of energy close to that. But they're not alive. They're not like the gray ships. They're solid material, whatever the hell they're made out of.
The Greys have two types. One that's nuts and bolts, and one that's a living thing.
Yeah, I think the ones that are nuts and bolts and all are probably like shuttlecraft and
smaller ones. Yeah,
scout craft, and that's what we probably
would
have seen. That's probably what we would have seen at Roswell's crash, because everybody who talks about the crash said because of the pattern of scattering, whatever it was wasn't moving that fast. So it is kind of a wondering why something would break up quite like that, unless it was just something that was real fragile. And I can't see anything real fragile making jumps to hyperspace and cross space and coming in and out of the atmosphere. Just doesn't really make sense. It was probably the escape pod. The Greys probably. Whoever crashed the one that the escape pod came from was found intact. But it was just whoever was flying it was found irradiated and dead. There's a couple of people who verified that.
Well, but the craft that crashed there's several people have different takes on it. There's one that I can't find the sketch anymore. There's one sketch that's really good. This is a diorama that somebody did. Let me get it up here. Is a big image. Oh, okay, never mind. It won't let me make it bigger.
Yeah.
But it was described as a bat wing type of craft that was split open on the side. And where is it? There it is.
Ding dong.
That's about as close as you can
get. No, I don't know what that is.
It's not quite the right craft, but that's sort of what the scene was kind of like. But like I said, it was more like a bat wing. It looked like like a batarang. And there is another craft, another model that looks like it, but that's close. The sketch is almost just like that with military men, 2 or 3 aliens on the ground dead. One's kind of splayed out of the craft, out of the gash in it, and the fifth one is standing up talking to a military dude.
Yeah, I had seen one with a gash. I don't know if it's the one you're talking about. I debunked it because the gash, there was nothing on the side that could have caused the gash. So if you look at its course tracking for the people who've seen it, there was nothing on that side of the craft that it hit. And since it was gashed inward, that's what they were talking about, then it would have had to have hit something. So it was kind of like, oh, okay.
Something hit it, maybe a lightning bolt.
Nah, I can't see a lightning bolt blowing up a spacecraft. There's so much more power in space than that.
Damage,
I would bet you if you're flying through a nebula, you are flying through power far more than any lightning bolt could ever create on this planet, ever. Matter of fact, I would imagine if you tried to create every lightning bolt on this planet, it wouldn't come up to that.
Yeah.
That's energy. See, that's why we can't go into deep space right now. That's energy that would just melt our spacecraft. That's what it would do. It just disintegrate it. But I guarantee you, they're flying through nebulas. They're flying near black holes. They're flying through planets. It's
in suns. Yeah.
The type of technology they're using isn't going to just evaporate. And I guarantee you, when we get to it, ours isn't either. So they were showing those new their drones that they're one piece. They look like saucers.
Yeah.
They were showing them when they impact at 200 miles an hour, they go into the rock. They don't break up. But they're molded. They're made out of one piece. They're not like put together. Yeah, they're pretty cool looking. It's who knows what.
Here's some footage, man.
This is pretty cool footage.
It was pretty interesting.
Hanging out over the moon.
And then they hit the Terminator in the dark. Yep. Boom.
I'll tell you what, we got so many probes around the moon now. I don't know how we're not seeing something every day.
I don't think that's one of ours, though.
That don't look like one of ours. That looks like the Millennium Falcon, man. Come on now.
No, it looks like the Tic Tacs.
No, that's the Millennium Falcon, man. Get out of here.
Well, yeah, that Tic Tac shape. Exactly like an egg, you know.
What do you think? Other people say it looks like the Millennium
Invasion
Falcon.
Force from Orc.
It's the Millennium Falcon. Well, no, Jack. The reptilians use these elongated ships, and they come in several sizes and shapes, just like the Greys. You know, what's funny to me is if you get a description of a ship, say 2,000 years ago or 3,000 years ago, they might be slightly different. Like the Greys' crafts are different. The reptilians' crafts are different too. And then you see a lot of them with what would be considered like orbs with spines on them, with someone inside, like it's a one-person scout craft or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, somebody said, well, that can't be the same aliens. I'm thinking, you don't think we would make advancements in 2,000 years? You don't think they have too? I mean, I imagine they advance at a faster rate than we do. So, I mean, that's what always bothers me about people that say,
they might have advanced to a point where there's no more further advancement. Maybe that's why they're interested in us.
Nah, they got the light beams there for that. Light beams prove to them that, because the light beams say that they were like us at one point. Long, many million years ago. And they say many millions of years ago. It's not like that evolution happened overnight. For us, I would imagine at the rate we're evolving, if we don't blow ourselves up, give us 50 million, 100 million years, we'll be a light beam. Give us 10 million, and we'll have spermed out a third of our galaxy. In 30 million years, we'll be at least to the black hole in our galaxy, halfway across, 80,000 light years, and growing. And we may even fasten it if we have really fast ships that can travel 50, 100, 500 times the speed of light, or can jump from place to place. We may explore the whole galaxy in way less. And I think of it like this: at light speed, it will take you 160,000 years to crowd the galaxy one time.
Yep.
So if you've got lots of ships out there traveling at these speeds, it's 160,000. It sounds like a long time, and it is. But for a race that's going to live for a long time, it's not. That means they could have explored. If your race is 1 million years old, that means you could have explored the entire galaxy 5 or 6 times over. If you're like the Greys and you're 1 billion years old, how many times do you think they've explored this galaxy?
They might be in more than one galaxy.
They might be. So, you know, this is a race that I don't want to screw with. I mean, it's a race that's far beyond anything. Their technologies doesn't even fit into our proper understanding. There's no click and switch to it. At least with the reptilians and humans, there's some kind of click and switch, even though there's not wires or anything. And when there is wires, it's some kind of weird laser stuff, but it's still more basic for us to understand that somehow or another there's a flip, a switch, something's connecting, something's moving. It's easier for us to understand. Maybe not right now, but, you know, in 100,000, 500,000, 1 million years, probably so. But with the Greys, I don't know if we'll ever understand that. It's an organic grown technology. Right now, we can't even grow a microchip.
They might be an organic artificial intelligence.
Well, the Greys are funny because if when you listen to contactees talk about the light beams and the collection of the Greys, and that's what they call it for some reason, the collection of the Greys, it sounds like they went to this race, found this race, embroiled with all the rest of the races, this big fight, realized there was something special about them, and they had special abilities and fast learners and already were more talented, probably most of the other. They selected that race, redesigned and rebuilt that race, and sent them out to make peace. And that's exactly what they did. So think of this like this. 100 trillion beings are at war, maybe 500 trillion beings are at war. One little tiny race went out there and stopped it all. That should tell you everyone should be scared of them. That's what that should tell you. Everyone should be scared of their asses. I imagine their ships could easily wipe out a planet without even thinking about it. Shit, they might be able to do it by thought.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, they, when they're at the council, they say everyone is nervous. So the light beams don't make everybody nervous, but the little fucking grays do, huh? I like the grays. They don't make me nervous. Maybe that's why they like humans. Not all humans are scared of them. Some humans are like, dude, come on, you're like 4 foot tall. Get out of here, man. Go do something with yourself. You're bugging the wrong people, man. Billy, as far as I know, the nuclear war is not something they'll stop. I mean, if we have to judge them simply by their actions, they haven't done it yet. We nuked Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Then there was Chernobyl Island, 3 Mile Island. I mean, Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island and Fukushima.
Yeah, 3 Mile Island was first, and then Chernobyl.
Yeah. 3 Mile Island was first. And 3 Mile Island was in the United States. Chernobyl was in Ukraine. Well, it was in the Soviet Union, but now it's just in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And Fukushima was in Japan. They've already started seeing whatchamacallit in Japan. They've been seeing them in the Ukraine for a while, too. Mutations. Yeah, just weird stuff. The pig's got a side snout and a third horn, just weird stuff. No, I don't think I want to eat any of that pork from Fukushima. Thank you very much. You just keep it over there. But what I mean is, the aliens have never stopped in for that. They didn't break up World War II or World War One. They just I don't know. Maybe they like watching us kill each other. Maybe it's a sport. The Greys don't seem to be that kind of being. Reptilians and humans might be, but still, they don't do anything to stop it. Some people, they're taking us and readjusting us. Well, they're doing a really slow ass job of it. How's that?
Yeah, well, it may be that they're looking for something specific and they haven't found it yet. And when they do, who knows? They may just go ahead and wipe out the planet.
Yes, it's a very strange and different place. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Okay. Sorry, I'm messing with something at the moment. Okay.
So, okay, what kind of craft do the mantids operate?
Well, see, the mantis is a weird thing. Some people say they're real. Some people say they're not real. It's a very strange thing. So
some say they may even be an offshoot of the Greys.
They probably are an offshoot of the Greys. And what's really funny about this is, so you hear people describe these mantis. So on the reptilian ships, people have described them, and then they said when the reptilians would leave, sometimes the thing would like go back into a wall or something and just disappear. And a couple of contactees have gotten the balls to go look and said it was like a puppet, like something you'd see from Farscape or something. But then we've got people from Gray's ship that said no, they're real. But when you listen to people describe them from the two ships, they're different. The mantis they described sounds like an insect creature with a lot of the shape of the Gray, but with manitals. Damn it,
Mantis
yeah.
Type things, yeah.
Yeah, I can't. Whatever you call little pincher things, and but they do kind of look like the Greys. The ones that they describe on the reptilian ship sound like a mantis, like you'd see out in the garden, just 10 foot tall. So it's hard to say who's lying, who's telling the truth. It does seem like the ones in the Greys seem to be more real. And I have never even heard this with the human aliens at all. Just with these two races.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they do think the ones I guess the reptilians were using it to scare people. Like a 8-foot reptilian's not enough to scare you.
Yeah, really.
Really, I mean, he's an 8-foot reptilian with a tail. He's 700-800 pounds. He's just yeah. That. I mean, really. I guess maybe they're scared of the mantis. Maybe that's what the hell it's about.
It's a for real Gorn. It's a 100% for real Gorn.
So it's a weird thing. So, but I mean, there's still more research being done. So hopefully we'll find out exactly where it lines out at. Well, yes, Jesse. It seems like one's fake and one's real, and they're two different type of creatures.
They could both be either illusions or holograms.
It could be that too. The grades are very good at doing it, and so the reptilians may be using equipment to put it into your head to make it look. They may be using a puppet to use to get it into your
Could
head
be
to
a
scale.
robotic device.
It's I don't want to say either way because we don't have. It's like Charles Hall's whites. We just don't have enough evidence. There's not enough research to say for sure whether they are real or not. There's evidence. There's just not enough of it. See, with the reptilians, greys, and humans, there's a buttload of evidence. I mean, from the Mesoamericans, the Egyptians, the the Sumerians, the Mesoamericans, even the Europeans and Americans, Native Indians. There's a lot of information about these three races, and they do seem to be the primary races. People talk about the light beings sometimes, but the light beings really, truly don't seem to have an interest in Earth. I know everybody wants to think they do, but really,
They have an interest in the galaxy, but not necessarily us specifically.
Well, think of it like this. I mean, you're an advanced being yourself. So do you just want to hang out with ants and go live in their consciousness? Is that what you want to do? No,
And
you know damn good well you don't want to go live in their
most part,
consciousness.
no, nobody's wanting to do that.
So, or maybe a roach. Regardless, it's not something. We're just not to that evolutionary point yet that we're really interested in. They've seen races like us before, probably lots of races like us.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably more races like us than the advanced races. They're more interested in. I imagine the Greys are quite interesting to them. I imagine reptilians are interesting to them. And I imagine if we've started exploring other galaxies now, because from what I understand, this galaxy is explored from one end to the other. That's probably the reason they know we're here because, I don't even know how they found us. We're freaking out on the edge of a spiral arm. We're not even on the edge of a spiral arm. We're like,
we're in between two spiral arms.
We're out there, like a quarter of the distance off of one of them. So unless you're just here for some reason, you don't even know we're here. I mean, so the spiral arms are busy places.
The land is we're 40 light years from the closest star with a planet with an atmosphere, and the stars in the spiral arms are just 1 to 2 to 4 to 5 or 6 short light years.
Yeah, they're close together. There's a lot of them close.
Much closer.
There's a lot of solar systems interacting with each other, and it's just not how it is for us. So those races probably made friends faster or got in wars faster. It would be like if we were still Pangea. Everybody would be living, but we could all walk across and shoot each other. Well, if we were still Pangea, by now there would be just one race. I should say one group. It would be one world. Well, Pangea made it to where races didn't even know other races existed for thousands of years. I mean, the Europeans didn't know there was anybody over here. They didn't know anybody was over here, even though some of the Mesoamericans seem to have known about some boat people, and some of the Middle Easterns seem to know about the boat people, which supposedly lived about 15 or 20,000 years ago. They were supposed to be advanced boaters. They call them the mariners, is what they call them.
Mm-hmm.
They circumnavigate
those people where we get the Piri Reis map.
Yeah, they say they circumnavigated the globe. But I imagine their boats were pretty decent. There's no record of whatever they used for boating. There's none of that.
It's been proven by Thor Heyerdahl that you can take a reed boat made out of basically plant material and go from Europe to, where did he go? Australia?
Yeah, well, they sailed one from South America. They sailed one through the Pacific. They went island hopping all the way to Europe. They left out of somewhere in Mexico. Oh no, I'm sorry. Somewhere in South America, I think it was Argentina, sailed up, stopped at some islands. I think they were at the Bikini Islands, sailed up to Hawaii, sailed some other places, and then ended up somewhere in the top part of Europe. That's pretty good for a reed boat. It was a decent-sized boat. It held quite a few people. It was well done, well put together, and they used only native tools. Showed you could do it. the Mariners were supposed to use something different though. They were supposed to be even more advanced than any of the current boatings until maybe
Well,
you
I
get
was
to.
just going to say, in order to circumnavigate without maps, you have to be an expert at reading the stars. You'd have to be.
Or have a Saxton,
Yes. You
which we
probably
don't
need
know.
one,
They
even if you were
they,
an
they
expert
might,
at reading the
yeah,
stars.
they might have had one back then. So
You would
it's
need some sort of device to triangulate your coordinates on the planet.
hey Siri, when was the Saxton invented? Siri.
The word assassin first popped up in English around
Siri?
the 16th
That's
century.
not what I asked you. Shut up.
Hey Google, when was the sextant invented?
That's not what I asked you. Shut up. Check it out.
Shut up. Then she's gonna get sassy.
Hey Google. Oh, now my Google's not working. Shit.
Hey Siri, when was the first Saxton invented? Oh, she's pissy now. I can't believe that AI that's pissy, people. I mean, come on. It's just one of those things. Michael was probably feeling on her or something, trying to feel her up or something. Jimmy
Touch
Lee
anybody
Jones.
anymore, man.
Around
what?
1731.
It's illegal to touch me.
1731.
Even when
It is
people
illegal.
say yes, touch me, then they call the cops after. Like it's illegal. I hear what's going on out there with dudes, and I'm glad that I'm not some young dude these days. I'm glad that I grew up when I grew up, man. When I was raised, we had fun. We could smoke in nightclubs, meet girls, get drunk, go home, and have fun, man. All now it's like, psh,
And you could smoke weed in nightclubs when I was growing up, and shit wasn't even legal.
you could do that in Manhattan. Long Island people get all
Oh yeah, well there was
they get all stupid.
Club 52 or whatever. People were doing like coke in the corner booths and having sex parties in that.
That was New York City, man.
I know.
I think that was everywhere, my friends.
There's
It
a
was
club
going on
called
in wrong.
So I used to work for an entertainment magazine. They sent me everywhere. I mean, like doing bands or like comedians, whatever, entertainment. And then like I've been to tranny clubs and stuff like that. But La Trapeze was a sex club, straight up. Like there people just doing it like everywhere, anywhere. And there was this band playing. I'm like, this. It was. I was like, I didn't even know how I was going to write that up. It was surreal, man, but it was a good show. I did stay for the after show.
Yeah, it's always fun, man. Nothing wrong with having a little fun.
You know what? It's disgusting. Isn't it? I don't know. I'm not going to moral on people. I mean, I had my share of tete-a-tetes, but who wants somebody who's used up like a bar rag? You know what I mean? Like, don't you want something a little fresher than that?
I don't know. It's not the show to talk about that for sure.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, Jimmy, ain't no aliens going to those strip clubs. Yeah,
We'll talk about that on the chat.
No, but according to Charles
People
Hall,
will have to tune
Tall
into the
White
chat.
did like to go to the casinos in Reno every now and again.
Yeah, they like to go to casinos. Oh, follow them. Go with their tall, goofy. The best way I can describe Charles Hall's aliens from the waist down is if you've ever seen the movie. What the hell's the name of it now? Now I'm not gonna be able to remember the damn name of it. It's a pretty decent movie. They go down to South America, and the girl gets her butt killed because they were at some plant. The aliens were here terraforming the planet. Arrival, that was the name of it. Arrival.
Oh, the Arrival, yeah.
So there's three of the freaking Arrivals, though. That's what messes people up. There's a newer one.
The Arrival 2, and then they redid the Arrival with
the whole different kind of thing. But the original Arrival. That's so when you see the thing standing there on the platform, or when you see the thing standing in front of the disc, that's the kind of legs they got. Except they keep them straight.
Yeah.
They look like they got hoofs on the bottom. It's definitely different than and they're tall.
Yeah, 7-8 feet tall.
Well, they say they never stop growing. So when you find one that's over 8 foot, getting around 9, that means they're really, really, really old. And they say they get really, really cranky when they get really, really old. So
yeah,
so I used to always warn, don't ever touch one of their kids without asking because they will kill you. That's like, I said, well, I can understand that. Humans are kind of nasty. Don't touch my kids. I wouldn't want some strange alien touching one of mine. I'd probably shoot its ass. Christopher, what 6-gun? Oh no, I'm going to change it. It's on the 31 gun joke. Yes, Martha holds 31 rounds. Yes, actually, if I put the other clip in, it shows 55 rounds. Yeah, you say you'd be like, what? You'd be like, what? I say, what did you say, Mister? Can you dance? Let me see how long you can dance.
My smallest gun is a 38 caliber Derringer over and under. It's got 2 barrels, but I only need one of them.
You know, I got a 380 I bought for the boss, and so she can carry it around, shoot people up. But it's got exploding hollow points in it. It doesn't play.
Yeah.
Then I almost got in trouble because I said, okay, I'm going to drip some mercury in each one of the hollow points and cap it off, right? And I ran into a cop when they said, why you got wax on your top of yesterday at mercury? He said, you can't do that. Like, what do you mean I can't? It's my gun. He said, them bullets will kill somebody. I said, isn't that what a gun's for? He started laughing. He said, get down. He said, I'm only tell you this one time. He said, next time I stop you, they better be regularly exploding hollow points. I was like, so I can have a hollow point that explodes and rips out half your chest, but I can't add a little mercury in it and make sure you're dead. I'm like, okay, I understand that.
Garlic works the same way.
Yeah. Well, you can use what's it called? Starts with an A. You can use that, and that'll rim it up. I don't know.
Garlic is just garlic, though. It's not even like when it goes in your blood system, it's toxic. But you can eat tons of it; it doesn't do anything to it.
Donnie, I don't know if I've never heard about a gray being killed by a gun. I've heard about some attempts, but I've never actually heard about one being killed. Matter of fact, the only place they even show you one being killed is in the movie Taken. When the guy gets a machine gun, he wakes up on the spaceship, grabs his machine gun, and just kind of machine guns everybody in the operating room. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I know they've been known to walk in fire to pull people out. They've actually gone in and killed men in black for taking their contactees and experimenting on them. And don't seem to fear anything on Earth. I don't know, but they don't seem to fear anything on Earth. Guns.
Hangar 18, man. How come no one talks about Hangar 18 anymore?
Well, okay, I can answer that one. So the reason is the book made very popular a specific hangar where the Roswell crash was stored. Everyone thinks that hangar is in Roswell. That hangar is not in Roswell.
No, it's supposed to be in Ohio, right?
That hangar is in Wright-Patterson, Ohio, and it's Hangar 18E, and it's like an underground bunker underneath the actual Hangar 18. Well, in Roswell, where the craft was allegedly stored, was Hangar 84.
So they're supposed to have taken all of the debris and whatever to Ohio. That was like
not
the
all of
main
it, but
place.
most of it, yes.
Yeah, well, they supposed to took the main craft to Ohio.
Yeah, and most of the body.
So how come people don't hunt Hangar 18 like they do Area 51?
Because it's Wright-Patterson Field. You're not getting on that
23
base.
levels underneath the base. Underneath.
Well, you're not getting on Area 51 base either.
Yeah, it's underground.
But you can go play around at Area 51's gates and they won't bother you. You go do that shit at Wright-Patterson, you're going to jail.
Shoot you.
They or they'll shoot you. They it's different. See,
you.
Area 51 is a top secret base we haven't even acknowledged. So it's kind of like Wright-Patterson is a military facility that's an active duty facility. You don't go screwing around those. You better either have a military badge on you or you're going to be in deep trouble. And if you go screwing around,
it was a long history just of that base and stuff that went on there. I don't know. I have to take up some information. Man, it was like really.
There was a lot of stuff that happened at Wright-Patterson. A lot of weirdness went on.
Yeah.
But it's because it's a big base. It's a big base, and you can put stuff inside of it in the middle of it. And nobody's getting anywhere around it. It's an enormously big ass base. It's like Eglin Air Force. It's another big.
But it also had connections with England and had connections with other places too. The original families that were supposedly making contact with these aliens, and was like several different countries. I don't know. I gotta look it up, man, because it's been a long time since I've dug into that type of stuff. But
did you know this is for Friday's show? But I want to remind y'all so we don't forget. Do you know how many countries gold that the United States stores in Fort Knox? It's
Oh
not
yeah,
just our gold.
and if
It's a
there ain't
lot
no
of other
gold
people.
there, people gonna be pissed.
According to Elon, there ain't no gold there. But
Yeah,
but we'll talk about that on Friday. But we store a lot of countries' gold there. And
allegedly.
I don't
so
think
so
there's much gold there at all. Maybe one room full of gold, so they can kind of
so
say, hey,
if what they said now is with our gold and their gold, our money is actually backed by gold. But according to Elon, they would only let them see these two rooms that were full of gold, and they tested it was real gold, but that was it. And he said, according to Elon, that's not enough gold to even come close. There should have been. I mean, there should have been like warehouses full of it, but they wouldn't let him go in there. So I'm kind of with Mike on this. I'm thinking it's iffy skiffy if it's actually there or not. And then nobody ever knows, and I can't say this because I don't want to get us thrown off. But when the Twin Towers collapsed, there was some gold that was supposedly going missing. So
a
Yeah,
lot of
there was
gold and
a lot of
silver
facts
and
there
platinum.
too. But
Yeah.
it's funny you mentioned that. You know, what if the the Goldfinger plot actually happened? Like, what if somebody actually nuclear irradiated the rest of the gold in Fort Knox?
or maybe it's our what do you call it? Our penance to the aliens, our little payoff. Our little here you go, Bob. Please don't blow us up. We'll give you 1 ton of gold every other day or something. Eventually, we're gonna run out of gold. We're gonna have to get out there in asteroids, start
Yeah,
mining some stuff.
Well, now
yeah,
it's actually worth something. Back in the day, the early '70s, it really wasn't worth all that much if you think about it.
No,
Now gold is like big
it
bucks,
really still
thousands
isn't.
of dollars for an ounce.
yeah,
You know,
It's actually more abundant on the planet than they let you know. That's why they make the price so high.
yeah. Well, pretty soon we'll be out in space and on Mars, and there'll be gold up the yin and yang. And so then the gold on Earth will be worth nothing, but the gold from space will actually be worth something.
Find
You'll
an
be wearing,
asteroid.
you'll be wearing your gold ring, and they'll be like, "And where'd that gold come from? Earth? Oh, boucher. How much that cost you? $5? Uh,
Or what if you could say it came from Planet Five on Sol?
Jimmy, I often wonder why they mined here and didn't mine the asteroid belt. I mean, we know now there's a lot of stuff in the asteroid belt, and we're pretty sure
Could be
the
that because it
asteroid ain't
hasn't been
nothing
destroyed
compared to
yet.
the Oort
Maybe.
cloud. Doesn't seem like anybody's been mining anything, doesn't? I mean, when we get inside, we'll know for sure. We'll notice, you can be able to tell if there's been facilities or holes drilled. But from what
Well,
I
there is that
understand, that
evidence
what's
in
in the
Africa of several dead mines, including one uranium mine that are completely depleted of all resources,
yeah, well, this might have been one of them. I
depleted
don't know what they.
before modern times.
Yeah, and that might have been a society. That might have been the mariners. Their boats might have ran on uranium.
Could have been.
We just don't know what was here before us. But it does seem like there was definitely somebody here, and it does seem like they were maybe not as advanced as we are right now, but really close. Um, in some ways, maybe even more advanced.
Close enough to have visited every continent, including South Antarctica,
It took us quite some time to do that. Maybe
or
might
the
have took
ice.
them quite some
Yeah,
time.
but we got there after the ice.
Yeah, that's the other thing we did. So,
Before the
but they
ice.
might have got there before the
They're
ice.
That's what I'm saying. They're before the ice.
And because well, no, Johnny, no. So the ice didn't go all the way to the equator. It stopped somewhere like Louisiana, Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, just above Florida, middle of
It's
Georgia.
it stopped somewhere right there, and then it stopped coming from the other way too. So there was places that was clear and warm on the planet where a lot of stuff would have went to, but you would have had to have a boat to get to most of it unless you were in South America or
the South
Africa.
Pole was green and had valleys and whatever, just like Bird described when he was taken down to the center to see the master. I mean, it's fascinating reading. It really is because even if you say, I mean, I did this show last Saturday about Bird's diary. Even if you say the diary doesn't exist, what you know is the fleet got destroyed. He disappeared for 3 hours. He was broadcasting live on the radio actually when he disappeared. 3 hours. He came back. He went on an urgent mission to Washington D.C. and he was told to go there and meet with the leaders and tell them about the nukes and whatever. And then these UFOs had made trips to observe other events, even shutting down nukes at times for tests. Like what you said, Joe, and what you said, Jay. We talked about recently about missiles being shut down.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
and so check this out. Remember when Elon Musk was launching that first big ass missile, and it blew up right where it was standing. If you look at the frame by frame video, you see a really quick disc going right past it, man. And people brought that up. Like, what the hell is that? It's just a silver disc going right past, whoop, and then the missile blows up, man. So yeah, I think they're watching us, of course. I think they don't like it.
Well,
And
imagine they're getting really nervous right now because we're going to Mars, and it looks like we're going to do it within the next 10 years.
no, I think they're nervous because people are talking about using nukes against each other, and that's what they don't want.
Yeah.
And then we have more, I mean, so I think that I think is the biggest issue. They don't
Yeah,
want us.
I see. I would agree with you, but they've already proven that isn't the biggest issue. They've already let us nuke each other. Not just that, they've let stuff
No,
explode on
just
the planet.
Nagasaki. But the master told Bird that was why they intervened. That they weren't even going to mess with humans. And then, but when they let off those two nukes, it changed everything. Now, and so that's what he said. But and then you know what? So check this out. When Bird gets back, the Secretary of Defense is committed to an insane asylum. 3 days later, he jumps to his death from the ninth floor. Interesting, right? And then Bird's son was found in some abandoned building in Massachusetts, malnourished and whatever, like no liquid, no nothing. He died. He dehydrated, no food. So they found him dead, man. And then Bird didn't do any interviews or anything. Only one when he went to Chile to go see his men that were wounded. And then he told somebody in the media that the biggest threat were these discs that could fly from the South Pole to the North Pole, like that type of thing. But come on, Secretary of Defense, insane asylum, then kills himself.
But still, I mean, still, ET didn't. They don't care about the nukes. I actually think they can fix it. That's why they don't care.
They interrogated Bird. They when after he came back and gave his whatever and told them whatever information they needed, they kept him for 6.5 hours in a locked room
But you
until
know,
until these other people come talk to him, and then he was apparently reminded that about his position. And I mean, this guy had 3 ticker tape parades just for him. He got every medal that there was, man. I mean, for for bravery and heroism. I mean, he was the real. He dove into the water to save men in the Navy. I mean, he was the real deal. He was an honorable guy. He's not just going to go down there and lose his mind.
I don't really have a problem with Bird. I just don't think the aliens give a shit. I don't think they care if they kill us or not because, frankly, this is just another planet for them.
So let's say that old man down there in that civilization of light. Let's say they can control all the ocean water inside the earth. Because if those great floods came, and every civilization tells of a great flood, where did the water come from? Where did the water go to? It doesn't just go away. It has to come from somewhere. Now these scientists are saying there's more ocean water inside the earth than that's on the earth. If you had the technology, man, you could pump that to the surface and drown
No,
everybody.
it's not quite that easy because it's locked in the rock.
It's kind of revolutionary that caused a big schism in the 50s. It's called the Velikovsky controversy. He speculates that the water that caused the flood came from Mars, and whatever caused the cataclysm would blew up the fifth planet, ripped the atmosphere off of Mars. Not only took the atmosphere with it, but it was fast enough that it siphoned the water off of Mars. And then as it went around, that water and atmosphere collided with Earth.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you where you got the octopus from anyway. It's they swear that octopus is an alien. It's not from our planet.
So, it has black blood.
They for some reason do not think it's from here. It came here, and that's just another Pangea thing. I just showed how things work in the solar systems. One helping the other. I don't know. I mean, when I look at I do this the same way with everything.
Yep, Agartha.
I judge the extraterrestrials just like I would by anything else by their actions, and their actions are not sweet, nice, and pretty.
They're not necessarily noble. No.
Their actions are like, okay, screw you, humans. Either do what we told you in the beginning, or hey, look, adios amigos. It's a pretty planet. We'll take it. We'll use it.
So this is like what his description was and what he thought the Earth was. I mean, it's pretty fantastical when you think about it. I mean, but yet other people, you know what's weird too? The Antarctic Peace Treaty. It's very weird how the rules, like you and I can't even go to the South Pole without all kinds
Need special permissions.
yeah. There's cruise lines that go there, really high end, but they're all connected with like the CIA and other intelligence
But
agencies.
you also have to take like several severe cold survival like courses and
Yeah,
tasks.
y'all get the
You're not
money and
allowed
we'll
to go
go.
anywhere. You get off, you're on the ice, you go to the ice bar, you drink a bit, and you leave. That's kind of how it goes. Like no one's even hanging out, man. So I don't know. There's enough of unanswered questions to say, yeah, there's something going on. You
Yeah.
know, especially even if you don't believe in Bird's diary, it doesn't matter. The events surrounding it kind of corroborate the story that something did happen.
I
It was
mean,
pretty intense.
as far as we know, that's Charles Hall's tall
Well,
whites
the
were dead.
Nazis had a mega base there. You know, before this was before before World War II. They had this huge mega base there, and Hitler wanted them to make contact with the Aryans, what they were called, that the race of people down there, and then get weaponry from them that he could use. Anything that he could use in the upcoming
Well,
war. And then,
if it's Hitler and he's made contact with him, we know who Hitler was talking to.
but
He
this
was
is how
talking to him.
they think the Nazis built those saucers, the saucer vehicles. You know what I mean?
No, well,
But
yeah,
they, but
but
they
see,
didn't
that may
have
or may not be true.
yeah,
But
but they
Hitler
didn't have
didn't
the
get the saucer.
technology.
The saucer was before Hitler.
But yeah,
So, and
exactly. I'm saying this is before. No, this one, but this goes back, dude. But I'm saying Hitler was around since World War One. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So if you look at the concept of
But I think
the
he was
time,
only a corporal when he got out of the army after
but
World
if
War.
you look at
anyway,
the timeline, if you look at the time, but the Nazis were still Nazis. If you look at the timeline, there is a lot there. There's a lot there, and then I
so
think
we know the Germans got their saucer somewhere around 1909 and 1910. We know that, and we know from 1913 to 1917, they tried to reproduce it in several things, from boats to planes to tanks, you name it. They built a saucer of it. I think there were 7 prototypes altogether. Never could get what they were. They even tried to build a jet out of one. They just never could get what the ship to do what the ship actually did.
Yeah.
So they put it in storage until Werner von Braun came along, and he looked at it and said, you could verify this with Carolyn Roslin. He said it's just right now beyond our technology to understand what it does. Now, Hitler said that came from the tall white aliens, the big headed tall white aliens. That's where he said it came from. So the alien race that we all call a human alien race, they're the ones that gave it to him. It sounds like it was one of the physical Gray's craft, is what it sounds like.
Bird
When you hear him
described
describe,
as very tall, blonde, very tall.
yeah, that's what they were, and they had real big heads in the back. If you're not looking at them front on, when you look at them front on, they look like us, just bigger than us. But when you look at them sideways, their head looks different. They look like the pharaohs from the ancient times. So we know all of this. This is stuff that's written. He actually got some of this written in Von Kampf in the book, which, ladies and gentlemen, you can get a free copy of if you want. There's stuff in there that relates to the alien thing. So all of that plays up until we get the craft. And I think it was 1942 or 1943 we got our hands on it. And then after that, we tried to fly it with no luck at all. Didn't understand it, not even a little bit. And for some reason, nobody knows why, the Greys decided to help us try to fly the damn thing. Killed them, killed us, killed everybody that was involved.
But
And then they
check
put the shit back in
out all these
storage.
caves, right? That apparently go down into that world. The Kentucky Mammoth Cave, right there. I mean, like I don't know, Pyramid of Giza. They're saying underneath goes all the way down. I mean, I think it's really interesting, man. I
It's
don't
going
know.
to be fun to find out. We won't know for a long time what's connected and what's not connected. We know in the United States is some things are connected and some things are not quite as connected as they said they were. But in some
Tight
places
atmosphere
around the
too.
world, there's
You know what? But you know what, something, man? This guy Bird was so technical, and he was every by the numbers, and he was such a like straight up dude. I just can't imagine. I can't imagine the guy making anything up, even if it wasn't
Well, no,
entirely.
and plus, right after, like you said, he went right after the incident. It's called Operation High Jump. It's like I call it the last war of World War II. or last battle rather, and it was 1946, and he went straight to Washington after they were recuperated.
But this dude,
But
what,
he goes silent almost immediately after that, and he just leads a sedentary life the rest of the life. And he
dude,
basically
he didn't even give. He didn't go on the radio after. Didn't give interviews. Didn't talk to anybody. He
fades away.
went. He went into just hiding. Basically, he was like very under the radar. I mean, this guy was always on the radio. He was always out there, always exploring, always doing something. What happened there completely derailed his life, and then his son
He would
died.
be equivalent to one of the major actors of today. That are
His
always
son died. The
Because the CIA said, sit down, shut the bleep up, or the next thing you say, you're going to be in a coffin saying it.
Yep.
And that's pretty much what happened there. But we got to go, guys and girls. It's past our time. We'll pick this conversation up next Wednesday because we're just getting into the types of crafts and the different ones that were screwing around and how they were interfering in the societies in the past. Friday, on the other hand, we will be talking a little bit more about the love affair of Trump and Elon. A little bit about that. A little bit about Elon and going to Mars. And then we got several other stories. I'm sure most of the night will be going about the LA riots.
Riots,
and,
man. We might go live, man. We might go live, show some
we
footage.
might. Actually, I've been thinking about that. I got to find, ladies and gentlemen, while we're here live, I'm looking for a couple of hosts. So we want to put news on the flip side in half-hour segments, maybe a couple of days a week, because we do miss out on a lot of stuff. The three of us have kind of squirrely lives, so it makes it hard. I could probably do one of them, maybe two. But so in the old days, news on the flip side was a big show like this on the weekend, and then it was a half-hour show 5 or 6 days a week. Because the riots, we should be having somebody. We have people in L.A., even though most of the people I have talked to in the last 2 days have left LA and went to Vegas. They're like, we're the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be there anymore. They want to be somewhere else. I checked on John and them yesterday to make sure they're okay.
I'll give him my best when you talk to him.
Emily's walking around with the samurai sword now.
It's a pissing contest now. So, I mean, it's really between. I love Gavin Newsom when he tried doing his little address. At first, it had no audio. Then they had to stop it and go back. Then it had double audio at one point. Like it was really funny. Like there was some kind of delay going. It was very funny, man. Just
Yeah, he's a mess. But the best part was he was going on yesterday about how he's going to be vindicated and the court's going to side with him. They're going to throw him all out. And of course, today the court said no. Trump has the right to call in the National Guard. So that little thing is over with now, and that just makes it. But anyway, listen, we'll talk about that on Friday because I don't like hurting anybody's feelings here. Everybody has different views on politics, and aliens have their own views on politics, I'm sure, and so does everybody else. So be sure to come check us out on Friday night on News and the Flip Side. It's usually 3.5 to 4 hours, depending on how tired we are. We'll definitely be discussing all of this in depth. We get into this, no telling what's going to happen tomorrow. We have a day before we even get on the news. God only knows what else is going to go on. Like I said, I'm talking to friends every day that are leaving, going other places.
Now they want people to get hurt because they want the troops to react. The Democrats love that. So it happened in January, when people stormed the Capitol building. Yeah. They love it. They love it because it proves that point.
Don't let me forget on Friday, we also want to talk about how many of these reporters are throwing themselves in front of the bullet so they can get hit by a rubber bullet. That is just stupid. I mean, but we can't talk about that, his guys and girls, but we will talk about it on Friday. That's best
thing that the UK ever invented.
Yeah. It's stupid.
It's a great thing, guys and girls. Be sure to check us out on News on the Flip Side on Friday night. We start at 9 o'clock. We will be causing trouble, wreaking havoc, and whatever else we can get into. And if that is not enough for you, come see us on Saturday night on The Chat. The Chat is a no holds barred, no hold back kind of show.
Anything goes for the chat.
God knows who's coming out of what's mouth when. Yeah, Chris, I'm going to have to put a 2-minute limit on everybody. I can see it coming. But other than that, there is no limitations. Anybody can say what they want. It's, hey, Paranormal, how you doing down there, Cat?
We're getting ready to go.
And, because Michelle will be on about 4 minutes. Y'all be sure to check out the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche. She'll be on just a set about 4 minutes. Her song is probably warming up right now. I was actually on with this young lady right here in the chat room. Yes, we had a great show. It was a lot of fun. Y'all should go check it out. Matter of fact, I think I just published it just a little while ago. It was on Paranormal Heart, so y'all go chalk it out and see what it sounds like. I'm going to go back and visit her again so we can cause some more mischief and cause some trouble. And if that's not enough, I was on CL show last night as well, so you can go check it out too. So it was a double header for me yesterday. Both ladies were fabulous, and both shows were great. But anyway, we're going to get out of here. Be sure to come check us out on Friday if you're brave. Saturday is where you have to be really, really. You just if you can come. And let me tell you what, it doesn't matter if you're a host, a visitor, a friend of the network. You're allowed to visit us on Saturday night. I'm just warning you ahead of time. It's not for the faint.
Yeah.
It's just not. If you're a wimp, you shouldn't be there. No, it's not. It's not made.
Apart. Yeah.
I mean, everybody should be respectful of each other. That's part of what we do. But the topics get rough. We don't always agree. We cut across a lot of stuff. And somewhere along the night, you're going to get a couple of really good recipes for something to eat. Yes, it never failed. Oh, it never failed. We've done 7 shows, all 7. Oh my God! I got
Swedish meatballs was the last one.
So,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, if you got a good recipe you want to share it, we can share. No, we talk. That's what I said. We talk about everything. I mean, everything. Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. But anyway, on that note, we're going to go. Thank everyone for tuning in to UFO Undercover and the United Public Radio. Until Friday, have some fun. Enjoy your life. Stay out of trouble. But the boys will be here. Whoever else wants to join us, come on. We need about 100 women to come join us just to make it even because we're rough and tumble. We need some sweeties and not just decent. Anyway, good night, everyone, and check out the Outer Realm coming up next.
See y'all Friday.